James Will, Lieutenant. Two raids that always come to mind. One raid, there were 5 boats. We were going into the Bodie, and we were going to go halfway in, and we were going to meet 5 or 6 boats coming out of Antoy, coming up the Bodie from the opposite side and it's about, I don't remember, but it was about a 25-mile run. We got hit immediately when we got in. We had 3 men, not our boat, but of the 5 boats, we had 3 people wounded, and but we kept on going with the assumption that we would meet them halfway, and we would turn around and come back out. We got halfway, they weren't there, so we kept on going, and we got all the way through the river and found out that because of the tides, they had not been able to get in. So we offloaded the 3 wounded people from the boats onto one of their boats. They took them over to Antoy to get them medevac out, and then the 10 of us turned around and went back out the same way we came in. So, you know, and that was one of the dangers you had, because our boats made a lot of noise. They knew that we had come through, but they knew that we had to come back out. So they were waiting for us. And, you know, I don't know, I think I counted probably, we were in that probably a total of 8 hours. And I think we were under fire at least 35 times, coming in and out. I mean, by the time we got, you know, we were 2 miles before we got out of the river, and we had no machine gun ammunition left. And we were almost out of mortar ammunition. And the only reason we were using the mortar because we were getting so low on machine guns. A lot of bullet holes, no one on my crew. And I got through the whole time, never got anybody wounded. The other one was, well, actually there were 2. The other one was the week before you left country, they normally took us off of patrol. And just because, you know, everybody knew they were going home, and they, you know, people were starting to get nervous about, I don't want to go on patrol. Well, about 2 days after sitting on the beach, my crew came to me and said, you know, Mr. Will, we can't sit, let's go on patrol. So we went on patrol, and sure enough, we went down to the Soyrap River, and we went down to a small river that they said, we want you to go into the river. There were 2 other boats with me, and I was in charge. So I went in first. Well, it turned out it wasn't a river, it was a canal. When we got into the river, the canal, we could tell that this was an unfriendly area, because we actually saw BC flags flying from some of the villages. So we got in, and I guess we were in about 2 miles maybe, and I said, okay, we're not going any further. And I said, let's turn around. Well, I turned my boat around. As the lead boat, the 3rd boat turned around. Well, the boat in the middle got stuck. The stern on one side of the canal, and the bow on the other side. So we put a rope on this one end and on the stern, and a rope on the bow. We pulled them around. And when we did that, we stripped the screws off the boat. And so I said, go ahead, you've got a rope on them, pull them out, and I'll be right behind you. And it was just about that time that we got ambushed. And they took off. I said, go, and I'm right behind you. And all of a sudden, what I didn't realize, and I'm an engineer, I should have thought about this, you got 2 boats pushing out of a canal, a narrow canal. They were pushing all the water out, and I'm aground. No water for me to go anyplace. And here we're getting attacked. And, you know, I called in for fire support, and they said it would be 20 minutes. And out of nowhere, 2 Hueys, gunships, showed up. And it took me 15 minutes for the water to come back where I was afloat again. And the whole time they stood around us and protected us. While we were, of course, we had expended a lot of our ammunition, but we finally were able to get out. And I don't know, you're lucky. I guess it was, I don't know whether the Viet Cong just weren't real good shots. I mean, they would shoot a lot of bullets, but they didn't hit a whole lot. So, and of course, they probably had to keep their heads down, because there were a lot of Hueys shooting, at least two shooting at them. So, but we got out, again, just bullet holes, but that was it. And I guess the third thing that exciting thing was we were in 2 boats in a river. The other boat had taken fire, so I went in towards the beach, and just as we, they started firing at us, and 2 B-40 rockets went over us. So I yelled, hard starboard, and well, the helmsman went hard starboard, and I went overboard, fell in the water, and I'm drifting right towards where they're shooting it from, and the crew realized, and it took them about 5 minutes to really circle back around and pick me up. The whole time there were bullets flying all over the place. I mean, they were able to get me in and get me out, and I mean, those were probably the 3, but my crew saw a lot of combat, but we were a lucky crew, and I would say a lot of that was good because they had been well trained. I had a couple of very good senior enlisted men that worked for me that they liked to fool around, but they were also very good about the way they handled the boat and the way they oversaw the boat. So, so I mean, the last 6 months, so I think I counted it up. We did, I think 150 patrols. I received 2 Bronze Stars. I received the Navy Commendation, well, the boat received, my crew received the Navy Commendation Medal. And then, of course, the unit we were in received 2 Presidential Unit Citations.